Endless Sports.
But right now, we're going to really hoop it up. Joining us on the show, he is the head coach of the Centennial Huskies. It is the great Josh Giles. And Coach, listen, thank you so much for joining us on the show. And last season was just so much fun to cover you guys, to see you guys go all the way, to be so dominant, to have national recognition. What can you do this year for an encore to maybe equal that or maybe even better last season's great, historic run?
Man, I'm just hoping we can get to a point where we're kind of comparable, where we can get kind of close to where we were last year. I think we have, the potential to do it. But I mean, obviously the bar was set pretty high last year. That was a special group. We had two really good senior leaders with Ramsey Huff and Donovan Dent. So losing those two is hard to replace. But I feel like we have the team to do it. Now it's just like, keeping them motivated to go get it again. And I feel like, so far at times that's been a little bit of a struggle. But hopefully now as we're getting into games and traveling and doing that stuff, hopefully we'll kind of get back into that a little bit where we kind of play and practice at that level every day.
Well, Coach, you just mentioned it. You did lose some good seniors, but you got McCain, you got McBride, you got Williams. I mean, those are like three of the best players in the entire country, and they're all on your team. So, the cupboard is certainly not bare. You got three great players to kind of continue what you guys built last season.
Yeah, those guys aren't bad. We're going to as long as possible. I've joked with a couple of their future coaches, having conversations with, Coach Shire and Coach Cronin is a friend. The LMU staff, they're great. I've known those guys, Coach Johnson, for a very long time. They've recruited our program for a while. And I've told all three of those guys at some point, we're going to figure out a way, college gets a COVID year. We should be able to get one in high school and maybe keep those guys for one more year.
I'm sure the college coaches are like, wait, hold on. We need those guys right now, like yesterday.
Right.
Yeah, we're talking about Duke, UCLA, LMU, three great programs. Coach, on Saturday night, you guys were on the road up in Modesto, another big win for you guys. But when you look at your schedule, going to Modesto is probably one of the more shorter trips that you guys are taking this season. Can you just talk about your schedule, all the places that you're going? And it feels like a college schedule. You're going all across the country, playing some of the best teams in the nation.
It really does. And, I feel like we're in a situation where we're people want us in their tournaments right now. And that's a great feeling to have. And I totally appreciate it. And I'm so thankful that there's some of these tournaments, these national tournaments that want us to come play in them. I feel for the program and for the players in the program, I think it would be, dumb of us to not take advantage of the situation that we're in right now. And so, yeah, we've already played at Duncanville, and I know there's a lot of people that won't necessarily take that game. I'm all for it. I'm a big believer in the anyone, anytime, anywhere thing. And so, you can't say those things and then, talk about wanting to be the best team and, wanting to win, regionals and states and CIF. You can't talk about those things if you're not challenging yourself and actually trying to go be the best. And to be the best, you have to play and beat the best, right? So, with that whole anyone, anytime, mentality, you got to actually go do it. You know what I mean? And so, we're trying to this year, and we've been at Duncanville, which was, unfortunately we came up just short. We had that game and kind of gave it away, which is something that we don't normally do. At Modesto or up in Sacramento for Modesto Christian. And this weekend we'll be in Phoenix to play Bishop Gorman. Then we come home for a couple of days, fly to Florida. We get to spend Christmas at the house, and then we next day we hop on a plane to North Carolina. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then in January we get to play out in Boston and Hoop Hall East, which will be an unbelievable experience. So yeah, I think when the season rankings came out, I think we have 10 games, not including I'm assuming that we might make the Open Division playoffs this year, assuming we get into that. Prior to the playoffs, I think we have 10 games against teams ranked in the top 25 in the nation. So we're trying to challenge ourselves, trying to get better.
Yeah, man, what a schedule. That's incredible. I'm curious, though. I wonder how many miles you guys are going to log this season. Have you calculated that? Is it like 10,000 miles? I'm just thinking off the top of my head.
No, I haven't calculated, but I need to. I mean, it really truly is on the level of some like major Division I college basketball schedules. It really is. I mean, we have 3 East Coast road trips, and, going west to east, I think is always difficult because of the time change. And, so doing that is not, that's not easy. And we're doing it playing that 7 games, 8 games that we're doing it. So in those 8 games that we're going west to east, 4 of those are against teams that are top 25 in the nation right now. And then assuming if we are able to win a couple of those and get into the semis or the finals of these tournaments, it could be like 6 teams in the top 25 doing that. So it's it's definitely, it's definitely tough. But like I said, if we're going to have the attitude of we'll play anybody, anytime, anywhere, then you can't say it. You actually got to go do it. That whole talk is cheap thing is true. Like, so we got to go do it. So it'll be a challenge for sure. But hopefully at the end of the year, when the playoffs start, we'll be battle tested. We'll have been there and done that. So, we won't be, the moment won't be too big. And with a lot of returners coming back from last year, an exciting season. It is a lot of travel though. It is a lot.
That is, but you got to go where the games are, right? If you want to play those nationally ranked teams and go in those tournaments. And like you said, they want Centennial there. They want the Huskies as part of those tournaments. Coach, I'm curious though, has there been any talk of having some sort of a high school basketball March Madness, like a national tournament? Maybe they pick the top 16 or 32 teams in the country. And I know the basketball season's already long, but maybe give them another week or two to let them duke it out and crown a national champion.
I think that would be awesome. I saw that. I'm not sure if it was last year or the year before. Like, I thought like it might've been Max Preps put out like a pseudo top 16, and they were going to do like saying, what if we did a 16 team, tournament and, held it, I think they were saying like somewhere like in Kansas or Indiana, and did one of those things. And I was like, who can get on this? Like, we need somebody to sponsor this. Let's do it. That would be awesome. I know there's talks of like, some teams trying to get together and form some stuff where they would be playing like a series against each other. I think that would be awesome. But to do something at the end of the year like that, where, obviously you'd have to, eliminate the prep schools, but, eliminate, they already have their own thing. So let the other schools kind of do something similar. I think that would be awesome. I think that would be really, really cool. I'm all for it.
I think so too. I'm thinking about, there's already kind of a rivalry now between you guys and Duncanville. I mean, there's certain schools I think people will be excited to see play each other in a national kind of tournament.
Yeah, we've gone to Duncanville the last 2 years, and I think we've lost by a combined like 6 points. So I was talking to their coach. The plan is right now tentatively for them to come out and play us next year, which would be that would be a lot of fun too. I'd be all for that. That would be great. But yeah, it's starting to get that kind of like rivalry, and not just doing like a like a cross city or a cross section, but now we're doing like a cross country. Well, not quite, but you know what I'm saying? Like, get some of these out of state rivalries going. That would be a lot of fun. I think that would be really cool. I think like true high school basketball fans would get behind it and support it too.
I think so too, for sure, Coach. Let me ask you, you kind of touched on it, the fact that just, last year was so great. How do you get these guys dialed in again and keep their focus again and not just kind of, rest on what happened last year, trying to, get it fired up again to try to make another deep playoff run? What's kind of the key in just keeping these guys motivated for something like that?
Man, I wish I knew the answer. That's been our biggest, probably, I would say, complaint so far with the teams this season is like I don't feel like we've practiced as consistently as we did last year. And, I don't hold back. I'm not going to, like lie about it. I tell people the truth all the time. I tell my players the truth. And it's like, we haven't been at that same level consistently this year. And I don't want winning for them to get boring. You know what I mean? And, it never gets old. And I want them to understand that. And I feel like the way in which we lost the game at Duncanville was maybe kind of slap in the face, maybe like a little bit of a wake up call. After the game, we talked about it, and it's like, that's stuff that we don't do. Like we don't make crucial mistakes down the stretch. And we did. And, for our guys, that was the first time they had lost wearing the Centennial jersey in a year. Like, had literally not lost in a year. Anytime we put on the Centennial jersey, now we've played in some events as Hoop Nation and stuff like that, but in the Centennial jersey, regular season games, even Section 7, all that stuff, we hadn't lost in over a year. And, we had this 34 or 35 game winning streak. It was awesome. And when that loss happened, you could just see the shock that it was like, oh my gosh, we lost. Now what do we do? And, the locker room was not a very nice place after that. Like, there was a lot of upset guys, but hopefully it also refocuses us too. Hopefully it gets us back to where we need to be and understanding that we still have to get better. There's still room to improve.
Well, Coach, my final question is, with all this traveling, when do you set up the Christmas tree? When do you buy presents? How do you navigate around Christmas?
Man, luckily, I have the greatest coach's wife of all time. And so she's handling all of that. Like, she told me the other day, like, are we going to talk about Christmas? Like, are we gifts? And, it's like one of those things where, you slide her the credit card and you're like, just don't completely break the piggy bank. But no, she's had to handle a lot of that stuff. Like, so I think in one of the trips I came back and we had she went out and bought like one of those fake Christmas trees, and I hate them. I always want the regular Christmas tree. I want to smell the Christmas tree in the house, and she hates it because it makes a mess. Yeah. So I came home to a fake Christmas tree and happened to deal with that. But when you're not around, you just gotta do whatever happens, you're gonna have to deal with it. So yeah, luckily she's great, and so she's kind of holding down the fort and taking care of that right now. So if anybody doesn't like their Christmas gift, they get to blame her, though.
Coach, listen, you are the best, man. I really always appreciate the time with you. Best of luck the rest of the way. I'm sure you guys are set up to have a big season, and Merry Christmas.
All right, same to you, and thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. That is Josh Giles, head basketball coach for the Centennial Huskies here on the Inland Sports Show. Thank you so much, Coach.
Inland Sports.